We are at the farm and we have all kinds of animals there. Can we leave the animals alone? Not at all. They are always hungry. They want food. Let's take the animals one by one. What will the cow want? He will want hay. What about the fishes in the pond? Definitely worms. Ducklings too want worms. There are lots of flowers in the farm, tiny, tiny flowers. And the bees are collecting honey. Now there's a dog at the farm to help the farmer. What will he want? Definitely some bones. The cat says meow. He will want, the cat will want some fish, and like that. Then babies come to the farm too. Children come into the farm to see the animals. They also want some water, biscuits, and so on. Now, what we are going to do is what food these animals like. Now, we are going to learn the food for the animals at the farm in the form of a tiny poem. Shall we? Now, it goes like this: what they like. Now, animals at the farm will not eat what you give. What they like will be different from what you and I like. It goes like this: moo, says the cow, I like hay. Bow wow, says the doggy, bones any day. Milk, says pussycat, and nice fried fish. I, says the bee, sip honey where I wish. Quack, says the duck, worms are best of all. Then someone says, mice are really nicer, says the owl on the wall. And the little baby says, agoo, agoo, I like bread and milk I do. So that's what we're going to look at, the food, what the animals like at the farm. So now we are at the farm and we are going to talk about the food, what food they like. And we're going to learn a tiny poem about the food these animals like to eat. Okay. Now you will learn to say the poem by heart. Yes? And we're going to talk about the food these animals at the farm like to eat. Now, the title of the poem is What They Like. What they like. They like. Each animal likes to eat what they love only and not what you give. What they like. Moo, says Mrs. Cow. Moo, says Mrs. Cow. I like hay. I like hay. Bow wow, says doggy. Bow wow, says doggy. Bow wow, says doggy. Bones, any day. Bones, any day. Milk, says pussycat. Milk, milk, says pussycat. Says pussycat. And nice fried fish. And nice fried fish. And nice fried fish. I, says the bee. I, says the bee. Sip honey where I wish. Sip honey where I wish. I wish. Quack, says Mother Duck. Quack, says Mother Duck. Worms are best of all. Worms are best of all. Mice are really nicer. Mice are really. Mice are really nicer. Says the owl on the wall. Says the owl on the wall. Baby says, baby says, baby says, a goo, a goo, a goo. I like bread and milk, I do. I like bread and milk. I like bread and milk, I do. Okay, that's it. Now, here we have the cow. And then we have the doggy here. The bee. Then you have the baby here. Duck. Then we have here owl. There's a little owl here. Okay, there's a little owl there. And then that's it. Where's the cat? There's a little cat who like to be present here. A little cat. Fine. Now let's learn the poem about what they like. Okay. Now what will the cow eat? Definitely some grass. Okay. What they like. Say it with me. What they like. Moo, says Mrs. Cow. I like hay. Bow wow, says Doggy. Bones any day. Milk, says Pussycat. And nice fried fish. I, says the bee. Sip honey where I wish. Quack, says Mother Duck. Worms are best of all. There she's in the water and looking for worms. Okay? Then, mice are really nicer, says the owl on the wall. Baby says, agoo, agoo, I like bread and milk, I do. So here you have the little bee who love to run about and get some honey. I sip honey where I wish. Okay. That's the worm. Okay? Now, let's say it together once again with the expression nicely. What they like. We're talking about the food each animal will like. Cow loves hay. Dog likes bone. Bee sips honey. Cat says he likes milk and fried fish. Duck says worms. And then the owl says mice. Mice are really nicer. It says mice are really nicer, says the owl on the wall. We'll say it together. 1, 2. At the farm. Moo, says the cow. I like hay. Bow wow, Says doggy, bones any day. Milk, says pussycat, a nice fried fish. I, says the bee, sip honey where I wish. Quack, says mother duck, worms are best of all. Mice are really nicer, says the owl on the wall. Baby says, agoo, agoo, I like bread and milk, I do. So you will learn to say this poem by heart with action. Then you will remember what food animals would love to have at the farm. You love animals and you love to talk to them. Don't you talk to your pussycat, your doggy? Yes. And here I have a little poem where Mrs. Duck and Mrs. Hen, they are having a small talk. Yes? So, it goes like this, the poem. A little talk. The big brown hen and Mrs. Duck went walking out together. They talked about all sorts of things, the farmyard and the weather. But all I heard was cluck, cluck, cluck and quack, quack, quack from Mrs. Duck. You like it? Yes, here the duck and the hen, they're talking to you. Now, let's look at the poem I have here for you. A little talk. A little talk. A little talk. Who's talking? A hen and the duck. Okay? The big brown hen, the big brown hen, the big brown hen and Mrs. Duck. The big brown hen and Mrs. Duck went walking out together. Went walking out together. When walking out together. They talked about, they talked about, they talked about all sorts of things. All sorts of things. The farmyard and the weather. The farmyard. The farmyard and the weather. And the weather. But all I heard, but all I heard was cluck, cluck, cluck. All I heard was cluck, cluck, cluck. And quack, 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 quack. from Mrs. Duck. Here's Mrs. Duck and here's the hen. There you have the duck and here you have the hen. Okay, now shall we learn to say it together? Yes, a little talk. A little talk. The big brown hen and Mrs. Duck went walking out together. They talked about all sorts of things, the farmyard and the weather. But all I heard was cluck, cluck, cluck and quack, quack, quack from Mrs. Duck. So here is someone like you listening to what the ducks are saying, what the hen are telling. Okay? Now, you are at the farm and let's see what's happening at the farm. Once more. So you are looking at the duck and the hen and animals as though they are talking. And they are talking. They do make noise. But they understand, not we. But here, you're trying to understand what are they trying to say. Let's say the poem, A Little Talk. The big brown hen and Mrs. Duck went walking out together. They talked about all sorts of things, the farmyard and the weather. But all I heard was cluck, cluck, cluck and quack, quack, quack from Mrs. Duck. Do you like the poem? Here, the hen and the duck are taking a walk at the farmyard, talking. What are they talking about? Talking about the farmyard, talking about the weather. Did you like the poem? Yes. We enjoy the poem when we learn to say it with expression. You need to learn to answer the questions, to give the answers in a complete sentence. And that's what we are going to do. You know where the animals live. You know what they like to eat. So we are going to do few question answers to help us to write the answers in a complete sentence. Now, question time. Okay? Questions and answers. You love to answer questions. So, let's enjoy answering some questions. The first question we have here is, where does the bee live? Answer. The bees live in the hive. Very good. That's all. So the first question I have here is, where? Where does the bee live? Where does the bee live? Now you need to answer. You say, the bees live in the hive. Very good. So the answer is, the bees live in the hive. Okay? That's it. Where does the bee live? The bees live in the hive. Now, what do they eat? What? What do the bees eat? They must be hungry. What do they eat? They eat, or rather, they sip honey from the flowers. The bees sip honey. What do the bees eat? The bees sip honey from the flowers. Yes, from the flowers. Okay, good. Next, where does the cow live? You've been at the farm and you must know where the cows live. Where? Where does the cow, where does the cow live? Okay? The cows live in the shed. Very good. The cows live in the shed. The cow shed. Very good. Next, what does she eat? What does the cow eat? What does the cow eat? What did she eat? The cow eats hay. Very good. The cow eats hay. Cow eats hay. Where does the hen live? Hen lives in a pen. Where does the hen live? The hen lives in a pen. The hen lives in a pen. Okay, now, what did she eat? She loves to eat worms and grains. Okay, what about the fish? Where do the fish and the frogs live? The fish and the frog live in a pond. What do they eat? The worms and tiny fishes. So let's go over the question and answer. Where does the bee live? The bee lives in a beehive. What do the bees eat? The bees sip honey from the flowers. The bees sip honey from the flowers. Alright. Where do they sip the honey? They sip the honey from the flowers. Now, next question. Where does the cow live? The cow live. The cows live in the shed. Then, what do they like to eat? What does the cow eat? The cow eats hay or grass, whatever. Where does the hen live? The hen lives in a pen. And what will she like to eat? She loves to eat worms and grain. She loves to peck the grain, scratch the ground and get the worms. So each animal has a place to live. If it's a duck, they live in a pond. If it's a frog, it lives inside the water in the pond. The fish also lives in the pond. And so each animal, they all have a place to live and they have their own favorite food to eat.